Okay, just switch from, I think in the previous shots I had that at the log profile of provided by DJI, but that I'm so dumb. I forget things. I put a mist filter or a vintage filter to give the colors that I've kept on here the look that I'm looking for, so I don't have to add, in post processing, or not as much. So, oh man, sometimes the most obvious things are in front of my face. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. So I'll just pan the camera around. Of course, I'm still dealing with what you got to work with in terms of focal view with the Action camera, because it's got such a wide field of view. And of course, I don't want to be too distorted, because if I get in close, I'm going to be way too distorted. Whereas if I treat it like a normal lens, I think that right now I'm at about arm's length for my face. That's about as close as you want to get, and trying not to distort, my face or my head in the image, because it can be distracting. All right, cool. I'm gonna just pause it right there. So this is kind of a cool field of view, and just bring it pan down. So one of the cool things, well, there are a lot of cool things about an Action camera, is that you don't need to have a gimbal, and even in these tight spaces. So right now I'm just holding it by hand over the dash of my vehicle, and just like you saw that pan up shot coming back to here, me in the center, and it's all jitter free, right? And they even have horizon balancing on it. So, because I always know my eyes are kind of cattywampy, so I never get horizons level completely. So that is something I can take advantage of. So the point is, an Action camera, while it has its limitations, all cameras do, it has some strengths. And if I just kind of capitalize on those strengths, I can use them to my benefit. At least that's what I'm trying to do. All right, cool. Action.
What you doing?
Just testing a tight shot here with these casings. Okay, action. Okay, cut right there. Come back. Got to get a reaction shot. So here I'm just trying to get the pickup shot for the reaction. And I notice that I have to get like within a little less than a foot to the camera. So I don't think I've got distortion in my head. Ideally, you don't want to be closer than this, about a foot. But if you want to focus on my eyes, because we're limited by focal view, we got to get that. So let's do that again. Ready? Action. All right, there's gonna be a second take for a reaction shot. And I am about just a hair under a foot. Okay, just a third take, just for shits and grins, because my stoic acting is pitiful. Now, one of the limitations that I'm trying to work with is getting close enough that you can see if I'm wearing any emotion or expression on my face, right, for the character, but I don't want to get so close that it becomes distorted or distracting. Like that would be too close. So here it's just a hair under maybe the 10 to 12 inch mark. Right here is about a foot. Of course, a little bit further. This is about 1.5 feet. Of course, I look a little more normal, but I'm thinking I have to get just around the 10 to 12 inch point of view to get a reaction, or to be able to show a reaction in my face. Yeah. Boys and girls, in case you didn't know, this is acting. This is the hard part with no dialogue. Okay, so one of the things I mentioned in trying to work around the limitations of using an action camera to shoot narrative work is that we have to work with the one and only focal view that we got to work with, which is very wide. Even set it, it's linear, and I think in this case I've got it even cropped in with horizon balancing. It's still going to be what, like 17, 18 millimeters, so very wide. So one thing you can do is, if you find structures like this to kind of dirty up the framing or add points of interest in the framing, you can get away from the fact that you've just got this completely wide depth of field, and it's really hard to draw attention to the character in this shot of what's going on. But let me see. I've got this old structure here. It's an abandoned, I think like a chute from a mine that they used to have out here in this part of New Mexico that I'm in. But let me see what I can do with this shot. And of course, I'm using the Nemo to frame my shot, which is, God, it's so convenient, right? All on my phone. But so let's go ahead and do this shot. You got a static shot, got a nice look there in the outback. And now I've got myself situated next to this point of object here. Then you got to do the ubiquitous looking behind your shoulder. It's like a hero shot. And then get ready to walk towards whatever awaits me. Cut. Aha, let's see. Now the cool thing about this is I could do the instant playback and see, see if I see like what I see.